Hello, everybody. Sorry, that's something that. Hello, everybody. My name's Storm1. I'm here to talk to you about the Greta Thunberg. That's the way I think it might be said. I'm not completely sure. I'm not going to look it up. I am annoyed about this. This was posted during the climate conference that is going on in New York. Now, let's work through the problems I have with this woman, this lady, and her speech. I find this a scary speech for one simple reason. I think she didn't write a single word of it. I'm not doubting her intelligence, but there is something so peculiar about this speech. It is very, how should I put it, not right in my personal point of view, and I don't think it is. I just think it's wrong. There's something wrong about it. Let's take it from the top. This is where she starts the speech.
My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
I'm sorry. Young people are the future. Young people can solve problems if they stop complaining. Science is for young people. Science is an incredible tool in society, in the world. It can solve these problems. She will get to that, and it pisses me off when she does. And there is something so wrong with this.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Money? The thing you pay for? The thing that pays for the shirt, pays for the stage, pays for the building, pays for everything, pays for your message to get out there, makes the world go round, and it will solve. Money can solve problems. If you have the technology and you have the money, you can do it. We could be going to space right now if we had the money, if we had the technology. We don't have the money. You seem to think that not talking about money, we should be talking about the environment. Okay, the environment is important. I do agree. I am not an environmentalist, but I do agree the environment's important. But there's keeping the environment healthy, and then there's going backwards technologically. Your Extinction Rebellion is sort of saying that we should all be walking. Well, the world would grind to a halt if everyone walked. Nothing would ever get done. We should all be on bicycles. Well, I can't ride a bicycle. And I'm not going to learn at my age. I do apologise about that. I currently have a cough. And, well, this is a point that they might say, oh, you've got that cough from living near a road. So, there's no proof that. It's annoying that people seem to think that money can cause problems. Yes, it can. Of course it can. But money can also solve the biggest problems in society. Money can get people out of difficulties. Money is how the world works. Extinction Rebellion doesn't seem to understand that. And this is scary. This is very, very scary what she's saying. For all the wrong reasons. It's not what she's saying, it's why she's saying it.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight?
Right. The politics. Now, the politics is getting there for what you seem to think is a good idea. Frankly, I think it's a backward step. I can understand why you want to keep the Earth's temperature down. That's fine. I can understand it. I don't approve of it. I think that there are so many simpler solutions that nobody's ever thought of, and nobody has basically gone, why hasn't somebody done this? Say there's a load of Africa that is probably nobody, poor people live there. Okay, Africa's a bit of a dump, let's face it. And the Western world is going, we've basically forgotten about Africa. When Africa has a lot of sun a lot of the time. Now, what is sun good for? Solar panels. Isn't that interesting? Now, why isn't places like most of Africa strewn with solar panel plants, basically gobbling up energy that's free, available, and simple? Okay, they have to take a lot of money, which is why economics needs to be good, to create. That's fine, but we need these solar plants. We don't need to be going backwards technologically by you're insulting the people who have the purse strings, who have the ability to, say, build and suggest these buildings or get things done. You're insulting these people. That is not a good idea.
You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
Right. Capitalism is evil. Oh dear. Okay. She is saying, in my personal opinion, that she thinks capitalism is evil. Because you're I'm trying to get my words across, but it doesn't seem to be. This aggravates me so much because there are so many signs that this is just wrong on so many levels. The Extinction Rebellion movement, the strikes that happened a couple of days ago, the London stoppages, the attack, and I will say it is an attack with drones at Heathrow a couple of days ago. I think this is, you are shouting, but you are shouting nonsense. You are being force-fed this nonsense that you don't quite understand. You are not giving us facts, figures, estimates. You say this is all concrete. Fine. But don't shout at us if we are trying to get our work done. In London, a couple of months ago, I can't remember exactly the date, basically most of London's shopping streets was shut down. Oxford Road was shut down. Now, let me explain something. Oxford Road is a wealthy, and I do mean this, a wealthy shopping street. You have things like Harrods in Oxford Road, I believe. Places like Taylor's. It's a wealthy area. Now, Extinction Rebellion decides we'll stop people going in there. People will get annoyed. This is the same thing that is going to happen in Hong Kong. People are getting annoyed with Extinction Rebellion. I am personally getting annoyed with them because I can understand what they're saying, but being shouted at, being lectured to, gets nothing done.
The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control.
Right, okay. I can't really falter for this, but there's something about this that just, if you read, I'm going to play the whole speech at the end, and it doesn't sound like she wrote it. She has, I don't know if she has a speechwriter, but there is no voice from that girl. She has Aspergers. Now, people with Aspergers, as far as I'm aware, are very susceptible to suggestion. This is scary.
50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist.
Right. Technologies that barely exist. The concrete word there is barely. They exist. I'm not saying that they're going to work. I'm not saying that it's a bit like cold fusion. It's a pipe dream. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't be concentrating on those technologies, because technology can solve many, many problems in the world. And I think it can solve climate change. I don't think that this shouting down technology is good for anybody. And what scares me the most is that she probably owns an iPhone. And she's shouting down technology. But I own an iPhone. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I don't believe that somebody who should be... I'm not saying she should be handwriting everything, but I just think that there are things that she's saying that just drive me up the wall in many, many ways. I am not an Alex Jones figure. I am not saying, oh, the frogs did it. Well, no, there's no proof. I am saying this young girl standing on that stage has been told to stand on that stage. She did not want to go. She did not want to be in the limelight. She doesn't look like she is there for a purpose. She looks like she's there because we'll give you money. Somebody has created Extinction Rebellion because they want to, spread this idea that climate change is important. That's fine. But they seem to think that going over the top is a good thing. It's not. It never has been. The Second World War with the Nazis went over the top. Nazis are over the top people. They are bombastic. It's the wrong message.
So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018.
I'm sorry. I don't care what age you are. That sentence was, say this. This is a headline grabber. Gigatons. What the hell does that mean? Okay, you are trying to say that CO2 is a bad thing. Yeah, fine. I slightly agree with you. But you said the ice caps were melting. Don't seem to be. You said that in 2000, by 2000, yeah, this was during the 90s. Well, this is when I was growing up. We were going to run out of oil. Don't seem to be. In the 60s, apparently, I think it was around the 60s, we were going to have nuclear winters because it was going to get cold. I'm wearing a jumper because I'm ill, not because I'm cold.
Today that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions?
Hang on. Hang on. Changing society quickly causes problems. Causes great problems. People lose jobs. People lose faith in governments. Changing society on a whim is what you do when you need world wars. It's when crises happen. You might think this is a crisis. It could well be. But saying that technology and changing society is a good thing and technology is a bad thing is ignorant. Very, very ignorant. I find this repulsive to listen to.
With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years.
8.5 years. A decade. Now, a decade is a long time, my dear. I'm sorry, technology does move on in a decade. Now, I'm not saying that every single gas guzzling car is going to be off the road in a decade. That is your aim. Okay, it's an aim. But it's not going to happen. Let's face it, the third world. India, Pakistan. People who don't believe in Western society, Iran, Iraq, people like that are not going to listen to you. People who will listen to you are going to try and help you. That's great. They're going to get their emissions down as much as they can. There are wind farms in the UK. There are solar plants. There is an appetite to be green. But the whole world is not listening. Iran, Iraq, people in the third world don't care. You are shouting at the wrong people, and if you shout at them, your head is going to be on a chopping block. Because, let's let's face it. Let's talk about this plastic problem. Let me just check that I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Thank God. Right. Sorry about that. Most of the plastic in the oceans does not come from America or the UK or first world countries. It comes from the third world. We seem to be told, don't use plastic. With some things, you have to use plastic. Now, if somebody said, we can grow this crop and it turns into basically plastic with a little bit of jiggery pokery, that's that is more than fine. But saying that plastic, why hasn't somebody just gone, okay, there's this much plastic in the ocean, there is a plastic dump in the ocean, let's clean that up. Right, we've cleaned that up. Let's get onto the touchy subject of microplastics. Has somebody worked out if they can be passed through the food stream? If they can be passed through a human food stream, that problem is not going to be that difficult. Let's face it, microplastic come in things like shampoos, hair wash, body washes, and I just find it disingenuous that people don't seem to understand. I don't use a plastic straw anymore. So, that's one plastic straw not used. Somebody else is going to probably use it. You're not using a plastic straw. How many plastic straws are you going to be using in your life? 200? 300? Unless you go to the cinema every single day, you're not using that many plastic straws. If you... Sorry. I just find this annoying. I find this revolting. Let's keep going.
There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Right. What she said there was brainwashing. Clear and simple brainwashing. She has an ideology that the future generations are going to be, how should I put this, betrayed. Are they? Really? What moves society is money, power, wealth. These things are all connected very closely. If you have power, you have wealth, you have money. If you have no power, you have no wealth, you have no money. You have to be in a position of power to be wealthy. You could win the lottery, but by the time I people don't seem to understand that people can be influenced by things like this. This is currently, let me show you, this is currently third down on Twitter. This is still trending, and I think that's a bad thing. I really do, because I think that, oh shit, have I lost my place? Oh god. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I've lost my place, haven't I? Damn it. Okay, give me a minute. Right, let's keep going.
We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
I'm sorry. That entire speech is wrong on so many levels. Let me explain. Now, Greta Thunberg. Let's look at her Twitter. 16-year-old climate activist with Aspergers, as you see. Join the global strike. Yeah. Right. I'm sorry. At 16, campaigning for... Oh, let's hear this.
We are on school strike for the climate. Every Friday, we will sit outside the Swedish Parliament until Sweden is in line with the Paris Agreement. We urge everyone to do the same, wherever you are. Sit outside your parliament or local government building until your nation is on a safe pathway to a below 2-degree warming target. If we...
Hang on. She is not saying any of her... She has Aspergers, right, fine. Okay, I understand that. But she is not saying this with any passion. She's been told to say this. She is brainwashed. I am 100% telling you she is brainwashed. I am not an expert, but I know somebody who's been brainwashed for ideological reasons. They seem to think that this is right. This is scary. This is very, very scary. This scares me a lot, because I don't like that Greta Thunberg came out of nowhere and became very popular very quickly. That kind of shit doesn't happen. If Greta Thunberg was a pop star with an agenda, that's fine. But she's a schoolgirl. She became popular just for doing something strange, sitting outside her local her parliament. Somebody made her famous. It wasn't her doing. Somebody told her to go there. Young girls, I don't care if they have Asperger's or not. Don't do this. Young men don't do this. This is not something... Go there, do this. It doesn't seem right to me. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand why I think this whole Extinction Rebellion thing is scary? It's scary for the wrong reasons. They are sending out the message to me that we are pushing an agenda that is forcing governments to listen. That's fine. But they are listening to facts, figures that probably are credible, but they are trying to be sold these ridiculous ideas that the climate should be cooling down, should not increase. Climate change, the world has changed a lot since its conception. A lot has changed since, let's face it, since the dinosaur times, since the 20s, a lot has changed. Time and climate change. So does human society. Trying to stop climate from changing at a reasonable level, which I think it is. I think the world is changing. Okay, we are getting weather patterns. So what? It's weather. It's not. She didn't say anything about, oh, forest fires are taking away forests, which is taking away oxygen. That I would believe. But I don't believe somebody who thinks that technology is not the way to go. Technology and money are the way. Are always the way. Okay, I might have been brought up on Star Trek, where Thunderbirds and Star Trek, where technology can save us. Technology is the way to go. But going backwards with banning cars in what was it, banning cars in the UK, diesel, petrol. Let's face it, one of the things I would have probably supported is higher taxes on new diesel vehicles. That hasn't come in. But also there seems to be this idea that the government somehow said that diesel vehicles were greener. Stop trying to feed me horse shit and tell me it's chocolate ice cream. It's horse shit. The British government, every single government, has never said that diesel is more environmentally friendly. We know it's not environmentally friendly. We knew that from the beginning. It was for agricultural. It was for heavy machinery. It was not for you to drive a sports car, a diesel sports car. It's... And people like Extinction Rebellion seem to think that getting rid of all cars is the idea. No, it's not. Getting rid of all buses. No, it's not. Getting rid of all trucks. Hell no. You are going to suffocate society. Nobody can move. And everyone should go on public transport. Have you seen a bus recently? Those things are diesel chugging sods. I'm sorry. I would rather drive a car, park it up, and go home. Go from one place to another and go home. You are spending less CO2 than riding on a bus, in my personal opinion. I'm not going to prove it, but this is my personal opinion. I just think this Greta Thunberg, I think somebody should be looking into Extinction Rebellion, their links with Greta Thunberg, and I think somebody should be looking into this. I think this is not clever. This is... Okay, if she thinks this is the way to go, fine. But I just think she's been brainwashed. And the popular opinion is to go with the brainwashing. Well, no. I'm not somebody who's popular. I don't think this is a good idea. I think more money should go into technology. more, let's face it, higher taxes on things like diesel cars that immediately don't go to government, go to technology. For battery cars, even those are bad, but go to improving the environment. Money should just basically go from a diesel driving car straight back into the environment. Somebody should be planting a tree or something. Or somebody should be building. There are places in the world where there is sunlight all 24 hours, almost. There is heat, there is sun. Places like Africa, and places like the Antarctic or Greenland, where is it South Pole or North Pole? I think it's South Pole, where you get, what is it, 17 hours of sunlight, and there is sometimes where sunlight is never. There is never not sunlight. Why isn't there a power station there? Why hasn't somebody said, put a power station there? Make power. Give it to people. It is free power. It is zero carbon power. Why are we thinking that taking trucks off the roads, which provide us with food, provide us with medicine, provide us with tools to improve society, just because they belt out smoke? Well, okay, that's fine. I can understand, but I don't know. I think I've got to stop. I've got to stop. Nobody's probably watched this far, but thank you if you have. I find this whole Extinction Rebellion and Greta Thunberg thing very, very scary. This is not good for society. I hope everyone realises this. Goodbye.